All right, a thrilling start. Finally got a recording. Cool. So Einstein Bagels has this frequent buyer program. So this is number 17 on page 133 of the text. And so it's a program where you can purchase 1 dozen bagels for $6. Every time you purchase a dozen bagels, you get a stamp. After 5 stamps, or 10 stamps, excuse me, you get 1 dozen free. This is an unlimited offer. It's available throughout the year. So what that means is, well, we'll talk about that in a second. So this is an unlimited offer. So the manager knows that the products, right, bagels, they are normal goods. And the manager knows that the budget set for the consumer has $200 between for bagels and all other goods. So, maybe this is their disposable income, right? So we're asked, does Einstein's frequent buyer program have the same effect on the consumption of bagels as if Einstein's were to simply lower the price by 3%?
So, you wrote that it's a normal good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just without solving anything, like, no, right? Because, like, I don't know, maybe I read it wrong. Like, for normal goods, if the price increases, the demand increase, right?
Right.
So if it goes down, the demand goes down? Or am I wrong?
Well, it's a bit more nuanced than that. So it depends on where the indifference curve for that consumer is. So to really figure it out, we have to model the two situations. So it's not just a simple kind of thing. So this is our LO6. This is an LO6 problem from chapter 4. So modeling this out, we're going to have a comparison And so we're told initially, right? So let's go ahead and we'll do an initial one in green. So we're told initially that they have $200. So let's go ahead and say this is 100 200. So we're told they have $200, and we know that the bagels cost $6 each. So the maximum, well, so it doesn't go quite to the maximum here because it's not a clean number, right? 200 divided by 6. So this is the dollars spent on other goods over here. So that's why it's our 200 up there. And then what's our maximum quantity of bagels in the default scenario? It'd be 200 divided by 6, which is some number, 33.333. So if this one, we have these be 10, well, actually, let's have these be 5. So that means 33.33 is going to be right there. And so we're going to go ahead, and this one I'm going to go ahead and do a dashed line because, and I'm going to try to do a little bit better job in terms of connecting the dots here. Because this isn't really what I'm going to be comparing at the end of the day. This is just my baseline so that I can model those two scenarios. So our first scenario that we're asked to model, it's very similar to the pizza example that we did in the end of class, right? In terms of the buy one, get one free. But this time we have a situation where it's buy 12, get one free. So instead of having it be a curve that follows exactly along this baseline curve up until we get to what? Point 12. And then as soon as we get to point 12, it juts out by exactly 1. Why is it exactly 1? Because it's a buy 12, get 1 free sale. So if it was a buy 12, get 3 free, it would jut out by 3 to the right. So it juts out by 1, and then we go ahead and now, at first, we're tempted to just go ahead and be like, right? That makes most sense. It looks like the buy one, get one free scenario, right? But remember, there was a little detail here. Unlimited offer available throughout the year. What does that mean if it's an unlimited offer? It's repeatable, right? So if you buy 24 bagels, so we actually have to go to where 24 is and do another jot, right? In order to get the new budget line of my thing, right? And so now it should be, so it should be 33.33 plus 2. Oh, I did 33.3 wrong. Oops. I thought that this was 35. We're just going to keep it that way. We're just going to boop, 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 boop. Have this be 35. Oh, and then these are by 5. Okay, so the whole thing's kind of screwed up because I didn't have these increase by 1, right? I had these increasing by 2.5 or something stupid. So let's redo this real quickly. Now that we know what we're doing, it's probably not a bad idea, right? So let's redo it from the beginning, and we'll do it with actual ones on the bottom since we have enough room. One, two, three, four, 5. Maybe. I just can't get the scale right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's our 35. Well, we're going to need to actually extend a little past that. So now we can properly do it. Now we can properly do it. So it doesn't matter so much about the y-axis as it does with the x-axis. So again, we have this initial one where it's at 30, 1, 2, 3.3, and 200. And then we end up doing a line over it all the way to 12. And as soon as we get to 12, then we jot over by 1. And then we go down again until we get to 24. And then we go jot over by 1. And we go down. And now our intercept should be 35.33, which it pretty much is. Why should it be 35.33? Well, my initial intercept was 33.33, and you've gotten 2 free pizzas. Or 2 free bagels. Dozens of bagels. So this is the budget line. So my blue budget line for the frequent buyer program. So now, what would our discount of 3% be? So our discount of 3% would have essentially, instead of the bagels being $6, right? The bagels would now be, they would be 12 cents off. So it would be 6 times 0.97. So it would be $5.82 a bagel. Which means that my maximum amount of bagels, 200 divided by 5.82, 34.36. So that's one more than I had before, right? In terms of my x-intercept, it used to be 33.33. That, how did I get that? I just took 200 and I divided it by 6 when the price of the bagels was 6. So now we're going to have this line still starts out at 200, which kind of makes it tricky. It's just rotating outwards to like a point halfway in between this intercept and that intercept, right? The 34.36 or whatever is right here. And so it's going to have just a slightly steeper slope. And so what we end up finding is that at the beginning, because it has a steeper slope than both the green and the blue lines, it's going to be below the green and the blue lines. I need to figure out a way to draw this better. So it's going to be below the green and the blue lines. But then wait, it's going to be above it. I'm like, wait a second. So it's going to be above it. So this is the green line right here. Let's draw the green line solid. Green line, which is our baseline. So why is it going to be above it? What's our intuition for it being above it? Well, they're going to have more bagels. They're going to be able to consume more stuff. And so having the line be below it wouldn't make any sense, right? So having the line be above it to reach this point, so it's going to be above it, at least initially. And then as soon as we get to the 12, that's when it starts to kind of split the middle. And so we end up with this intersection here, where any preference for fewer than 10 dozen, the book says 12. The book says 10, I did 12, sorry. Still the same. 12 dozen per year would be on this, that would actually, they would benefit better from the 3% discount because they would be on a slightly higher indifference curve than they were on the blue and the green situation. Right? So if they're not getting that bulk discount after buying 12, they're better off just with the 3% discount, right? So consumers are going to buy more if they have preferences for fewer than 10 dozen bagels. But if they have preferences for greater than 10 dozen bagels, or 12 dozen, sorry. So this whole section dang it. They would sell more with the frequent buyer program. So the end of the day cleaned up. Looks something like this. And I reversed the colors, which is not helping anybody. Something like that. And then this guy is starting at the same point and then shooting the middle. And so after this point, the red's better in terms of you getting more stuff, right? Whenever we're talking about these budget lines, we're assuming that all the other goods are normal goods as well. And we're told that we know that bagels are normal goods. Okay, so let's do another example of this. Number 15. So 15 talks about consider an employee. So this is actually something that you may very well be dealing with right now or have to deal with in your life, right? There's been a lot of times where I've had employees that don't give me employer-based health insurance. And so there's an employee who does not have health-based insurance. She has to divide up $1,000. That's her after-tax per week income. Between health insurance and, again, other goods. And just, if you want, you can just write in other normal goods. It's always assumed, so you can totally say that. So first, before we do anything, let's go ahead and illustrate that choice that they're making, right? Because there's going to be suppose this, suppose that, which one's better, right? And so let's get our bearings in terms of just how do we go about modeling this right now. And so our initial budget line is going to be other goods over here, and I have no idea why the book has this as 10, but we're just going to do the same thing that they had before, which is the dollars in cash spent on other goods. And so, what do we find? We find that they can spend $1,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each one of these is $100. So they can spend $1,000 on other goods and get 0 insurance. Or, it's kind of silly to think about, but what if they just maxed out on insurance? How many times could they get insurance? We're given some amount of that. We're told that insurance is $200 per week. So, if she got one insurance, then it would be 800, right? If she got, and so the rest of it doesn't really make any sense, right? Because why would you go ahead and get 5 insurances, right? But it's just it's just for completeness to put it, if that makes any sense. So this is our baseline. So then we're told, how would the opportunity set change? So how would this budget line change if the employer agreed to give the employee $200 worth of health insurance per week? Under the current laws, it's non-taxable. So we're asked, would they be better off if they had given her that, or if they had just given her $200 per week that was taxable at a rate of 25%? So let's go write that down. So would the employee